as we discussed earlier, now what did we discuss? We discussed something related to clauses. Now what are clauses? How do we extract data with the help of clauses? And so on. We saw a simple use case where we used a select clause as well as a from clause. Now as it was said that select was used to select certain data or certain columns from your table or from the multiple tables, and from is used to select from where do you want to select this data. So if you simplify it, see the query, it's select column 1, column 2, column 3 and from where. So from the employees table, the information was being gathered. The query writing was also simple, the query understanding was also simple, because the words which were used in order to write the statements were very simplistic approach of English. That is selecting something and from where, from the source which is being gathered. But it's not always that you have to select a data, everything related to all the columns and all the rows. Now, there could be certain specification which could be added. Now, what kind of specification? It could be that I want to see the data only for mails. I want to see the data only for HR as a department. I want to only see the data where the department is IT, or I want to only see the data where the salary of the employees is greater than 40,000 or 45,000 and so on. So here you can see I don't want all the rows. I want only specific rows. Now what are the specifications which are required? Those specifications will be on the basis of a criteria. Now what is the criteria? Criteria is nothing but a condition which I want my data to satisfy over here. So how do we write those kind of statements over here? Because initially what we have studied, we know that selecting columns and we know the table source. But do we know that what is the criteria being mentioned? Do the criteria needs to be satisfied or not? So for that particular purpose, we have something known as where. Now, as the name suggests, where? Where what? Where your condition is satisfied. So select the data where. As the name suggests, where means at what position the condition is being satisfied. Now what is the condition? Whatever it could be. So it could be like getting data related to mails, as I've said earlier, getting data related to HR department, or getting salaries greater than 50,000. So that could be certain criteria where the data must follow them. So I will be using and understanding something related to where clause. Now when I talk upon where clause. So when I talk upon where clause, so where clause in SQL is used to extract those rows. Now it's particularly for what? Rows. So it is helpful in SQL in order to extract those rows from the table. Means from where the rows would be extracted? Obviously from the table. Where the specified condition or criteria is true. Now what does that mean? This means that whatever is being specified, that needs to be satisfied. That needs to be there into my data, then and only then extract that data, or else no need to get that into my result set. So where clause, where a particular condition is satisfied. If I say where the gender is male, where the department is HR, where the salary is greater than 50,000. So this was a criteria based approach where not all the information is being gathered from the data, only a specific information based on criteria is being extracted. So that is the purpose of what? A where clause. Now, in order to give those conditions and criterias, we need something called as operators. Now, what is the meaning of that? Key, in order of condition and criteria, we need operators. Now, in the where clause, whenever you want to give certain condition, whenever you want to give certain criteria, you obviously need something called as operators. Now, what are operators? Operators are used to perform operations. So, operators are used to perform. They are used to perform what? Perform operations. That is nothing but task. So, operations are nothing but task which we need to perform with respect to my data. That is the purpose of what an operator is. So, whenever you use a where clause, operator use case is something which will come to you hand in hand. So, let's see what kind of operators do we have and how we can use them here. So, when I talk upon operators with respect to SQL, there are various operators which are there. So, the very first operator which is very first operators which we have, which is an arithmetic operator. Now, what is the meaning of arithmetic operator? Now, as the name suggests, arithmetic. Now, what is the meaning of arithmetic? Arithmetic means mathematical operators. So, mathematic related task. So, mathematical operators is something which we have within my data. So, they are arithmetic operators, the mathematical operators which we have. Now, what kind of mathematics operation we can do? Plus, minus, multiply, divide, then it could be floor division and many more as such. But this kind of operators, when we use this, we can get what? The use of mathematical operators. Now, use of mathematical operators seems to be quite low as compared to the rest of the operators which are available with respect to my where clause. But at different positions, they are used at different instances. But when it comes to select and where, then at that particular instance, the use of arithmetic operators is quite low. But when you do use it with update or delete, you can obviously take help of this operators very effectively. Now, as no need to explain what is plus, what is minus, it is something which you all know. So, let's carry forward with the next type of operators which we have is relational operators. Now, what are relational operators? As the name suggests, this operators helps us to find out relations within the data, which means a particular relation is being satisfied or not. That is the purpose of a relational operator. Now, what kind of relation do you think so needs to be satisfied? It could be a greater than operation. That, let's say, I say salary is greater than 50,000. So, I am going to check, is this relation satisfied within my data or not? So, it is obviously going to give me answer as true and false. So, whenever you use relational operators, the answer is going to be true and false. And as you know, in where clause, it will only extract that data where the condition is what? True. So, that is there. So, greater than, then we have greater than equals to. Let's say we have less than equals to. Then we have something called as not equals to, and we have something called as equals to. Now, when do you think so we will use this greater than? When do we think so we will use greater than, equals to, and so on. So, what kind of data use cases will we see? We'll see practically using all of them, but let's understand theoretically how it will be useful. So, whenever there is greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals to, all those kind of operators are useful only when the data is mostly in the form of numeric or with respect to date time. Date or time. Because the extraction or the relation analysis over here seems to be accurate, seems to be perfect. Let's say numeric, I can say greater than 10,000, greater than 4,000, greater than 30, greater than 20, less than 40, less than equals to 25, and so on. So the relation could be very easily created. Now if I talk upon date and time, let's say before, which means less than a particular date, after, which means greater than a particular date, and so on, that could also be gathered. So whenever you are using greater than, less than, greater than, equals to, less than, equals to, make sure the data which is purposely used over there is date, time, or a numeric data. Now there are other operations which is not equals to and equals to. Now what is the purpose of not equals to? Not equals to means whatever the value is, it should not be equals to that certain criteria. I said that I want to extract only those employees' detail where the gender is not female. Now what is the meaning of that? Which means I don't want to extract the data of females. The criteria needs not to be met. So not equals to female. That's the criteria which I want. I can also say that I want to extract the data where the age is 23. So the age is equals to 23. I want to extract the data where the department is IT. Here you can see equals to. So there is no such restriction that I have to use only numeric data, I have to use only date and time, I have to use only text related information. The use of not equals to and equals to can happen on all types of data. So it works on what? All types of data which are there. So I can take any type of data and take help of those words. Now we have studied these two operators. There are two more operators, but let's try to practically implement them first, and let's try to see how I will be able to solve certain queries for the same and generate a result set, practically implement it with the help of MySQL as well, with the database which I have, and let's proceed further with the next operators we do have. So if I take over here, let me clean this so that I can write it appropriately. So as you have seen, we have arithmetic operators, we have this operator with the help of a where clause. So what's the question which I have? Let's say I have a question. The first question which I have, show all the employee details for HR department. So here if you can see the query approach, how my query execution will be written. So show all the employee details, which means which we did, select star from employees. For which department? HR department. So here you can see a specification came. You don't want all the rows, you want only the HR department rows. So if I want to talk upon the syntax for where clause, so how does the syntax look like? So syntax for where clause looks like, now the select is going to remain the same. So here select is going to come. Select column names, column values, whatever it is. So column criterias are going to come. From where are we going to do this? There is a table name which is being mentioned. So this part remains constant over here. Where I can implement a where clause. Where clause will always be written after your from. Here you will write it what? Where. And obviously where will have a condition, and that condition is known as a search condition. Means what I am trying to search. within the data in terms of its extraction. So there is something called as a search condition. So let's say I write it properly. So search condition, which is there, and that's it. So this is a syntax which is being given. Now let's try to see with respect to this question how I will be matching the syntax and I will be generating a result set. Now let's try to write the query. Now what is the query? I'll obviously write select. Now there is no specification of column. No one has said that you have only this columns to be shown in the outcome. So you can put up star over here. So if that is mentioned that show only the name and department and gender, then instead of star you will write something called as name, age, gender and so on. So select star from where are we gathering it? The employee, the department or the table name is what? Employees, which is there. So select star from employees. It's a simplistic query of accessing. If I just write this, it is doing show all the employee details. It is doing only those work. But for the HR department, it is not showing me specifically for HR. It is only showing me all the employees information. So what do I want? I want that specification to be added. So I want that condition to be met. Where? What is the where condition? That where the department is HR. So that's the condition or the criteria which I want the model to be satisfied. So what I can do is, I can put over here and I can write something called as where. Now in where you can see in the syntax what I have written, search condition, which means how I want to search the data, that I want to search for what? HR as HR department as a value, where I will search this value in the department table. So whenever there is a search condition, you need to see where the department or where the criteria is met and what kind of criteria needs to be given. So here I give the name of the column as what? Department. So that's a column where I will go and check for the criteria. That is, find the where criteria over there. So where, now it is only for HR department, which means the department should be HR, which means it is equals to. Now this is how and what is the criteria. Now remember, whenever there is number and everything you can write directly, but whenever there is a textual information which you need to compare within your data, you'll always write it in quotes. It could be single quotes, it could be double quotes. So I am writing HR over here and put up a semicolon. So what will happen? My query will go into the employees table and it will go specifically at what position? The department position here, and it will try to test this condition. Now equals to is the relation operator. It will try to test is the relation satisfied or not. So if I go over here and check is the relation satisfied in the first row, is the department name HR? Yes, the relation is satisfied. I'll write true. Admin, no, the relation is not satisfied. I'll write false. IT, false. This is false. Yes, true. This is false. This is false. This is false. True. True. False. 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 Here you can see true, false and true. So how many are being extracted? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So only, so SQL it is used to only extract those rows where the table with the specified criteria or condition is what? True. And here you can see the answer of that criteria or the condition which I have mentioned is nothing but true. So it is not going to select all the rows, all the 20 rows. It is only going to select those rows where this condition is true. So the result set will have all the details of the employees only related to HR. So this was the first use case or the first example which we saw. Now let's try to solve another question over here. and let me remove all of them, and let me write a query over here. What is the query? The next query which I have is find those employee names and their departments. Where the salary is greater than 50k, that is 50,000. So how will I write the query? Obviously I am going to write something called as select. Now read out the question very carefully. What is being written? Select those employee names and their department, which means I want name and the department only to be shown in the outcome. So whatever you want to show in the outcome, first understand it from the question. Find those employee names and their department where the salary is greater than. So salary greater than 50k is a criteria. It's a search condition which I will check. So select, what do I want to write in the select? I don't have employee name. I have name as a column. So I'll write what? Name, comma. What do I have to show again in the select? That's nothing but department. So I'll write department. From where I want to select this department? From my employees table. This is from where I want to select my department. Now if I just end my query, which means it will show all the names and departments from employees, but it is not showing the salary specification or the salary search condition. So I have to write where, which means where the condition is satisfied. Where the condition is what? Salary greater than 50k. Now you don't need to write 50k, you have to give 3 zeros. That is 50,000. So you have to give 3 zeros over here, that is 50,000. So what happens when you end up this query? What it will do? It will go to the table, it will go to the salary. 65,000, yes, it is greater than 50,000. 45,000, no, it is not greater. 40,000, no. 83,000, 93,000, yes. 60,000, yes. 82,000, yes. 48,000, no. 45, no. 38, no. 55, yes. 48, yes. 55, yes. 58, yes. 53, yes. 75, yes. 62, yes. Is there? No, no, and no. So here you can see not all the tables, not all the rows of the tables are being shown in the outcome. Only those where the specific criteria and condition is met is being shown. So I hope you understand that how does a where clause work. Where clause has a search condition and it will only specify those elements where the search condition is mentioned or satisfied, and that will be generated into my result set. So I hope you understood with the theoretical explanation over here. Let's go and see the use case of the practical implementation of my operators with the help of where clause. So let me minimize it and let me open this over here. So here you can see, let's talk something related to where clause. So where clause is what we are going to study. Now where clause helps to extract the data where the specified condition or criteria is met, which means wherever the specified condition or the criteria which is being mentioned is being met, which means that's true. So that's what I want to do. So whenever a where clause is used, one thing which is used, in order to specify criteria, operators would be used. So you will be using something called as operators. So operators would be used. That's what it is there. Now what are operators? Operators are used to perform what? Perform operations that are nothing but the task which we have within the data. And when I talk about operations, they are nothing but the tasks that are there into the data. First operator which we have, let's say I write A, the first operator which we have is nothing but the arithmetic operators. Now what is the meaning of arithmetic operators? It will help me to do mathematical calculations. As such, the next type of operators we do have is nothing but a relational operator. Now what is the meaning of a relational operator? Now relational operator is something where a relation would be checked. Now what kind of relation needs to be checked? It should be greater than, less than, equals to, not equals to, and so on. Relational, and in that we have greater than, we have greater than equals to, we have less than equals to, we have, let's say, not equals to, and we have simple equals to, which is there. Now what is this? This is nothing but greater than. This is nothing but greater than, equals to, this is nothing but less than, and we have something called as less than equal to, we have not equals to, and we have equals to. Now remember, as I've said when I was discussing about operators, that is, you will use greater than equals to, less than equals to in numeric data specifically, so that the analysis of the result sets which are generated are appropriate enough. But whenever you have not equals to, it could be used on all types of data which are there. So this was the simplistic approach. Now we have still more clauses to perform, but let's see the practical implementation of this. So as you can see, as per the question, what I am going to do is select, let's say star, from where I am going to select, from the table of customers. So if I write just this query, there is no specification according to the question, according to the report analysis which I wanted to do. All the city related information is being shown. What I want over here is only related to Las Vegas. So I'll write what? City equals to Las Vegas. Now you just see, I have not mentioned where. So this is going to show me error. What is an error? You can see where is not, equals to is not valid at this position, which means if the where is not written, you cannot write a query like this. So you'll write something called as where, and when I generate the result set, you can see only that customer information is being gathered, where the city is what? Las Vegas. So extract the customer details. There was only one customer in my data where the city was Las Vegas. This has been extracted. So this is one query which I generated with the help of where clause. Now the difference between select and from and where is, they are extracting all the information from a table, where is extracting only a specified information from a table. Now imagine that I have another question which is related to, let's say, payments. I have a payments table and then there is an amount being shown. I want to show that payment details. I want to show the customer number and the amount being paid by those customers where they have spent more than 40,000. So what I will do over here is, I'll go to my query table and what I find those customer numbers with the amount with their respective amount, respective payment amount, where the payment done is more than what, 40k. Now you can see it's a one-liner comment, so it is trying to fit everything in one line, but it's not fitting, so I can put it in multi-line comments. If I break it down over here, you can see it is going to show me error. So I can write like this, and let me write select star from, not in customers. If I want to check, because I don't know it was a payments table, so I'll check in customers. There is nothing related to payment. There is nothing related to payment. There is credit limit of the customer being shown. So find those customers with their respective payment where the payment done is 40k. So I cannot find it in customers table, so there was a table named as payment. So always check which table will be used for your analysis. So here you can see payments is being shown. So this is a payments table, I can see. Now what do I want? Find those customer numbers. I don't want all the details. I want only the customer number and their respective payment amount, which means what do I want? An amount in the outcome. This is being shown. What do I want for the same is, I want only those customer number where they have paid or where they have spent an amount more than 40,000. So here I will write what? Where amount is greater than 40,000. So when I run this query, when I execute this query, you can see these are the customers who have spent or who have paid more than 40,000 over here. So this is what we can see over here. Let's see another one. Now if you see, there is a products line table, and I want to gather the information for all the products except planes. So extract all the product line details of products except the planes category, which means I don't want the plain category data to be there into my outcome or the result set. So what I'll do is, I have select star from products. My information is available, could be available into my products table. Here you can see also with respect to my product line. So I can also go and find it from the product line. Now it all depends on the query where you will find it. So product lines. Now let's say I want to find the details, all the product line details of product except the plain category. So instead of product line, I'll only get the description. So I'll go in this one, and you can see all the details. What is the product code, product name, and so on. So I want all the details, but I'll write what? Where what? Where the product line which is there is related to all the categories except plain. So except means it should not be equals to plain. So not equals to. This is how you write not equals to. You put up what? A criteria. Now no need to write it in uppercase or a proper case. You just have to write it in lowercase till it's fine. So it's planes. When I do control enter, you can see planes as a category is not being shown. Rest all the categories are being shown into my information. So this is how a simplistic approach of where clause with the help of the relational operators could be taken care of. Now we will be understanding the next set of operators, which is nothing but the logical operators, where we will write more SQL statements in order to filter out the data, as well as some filtering operators which are a bit different from your relational as well as your logical operators. So as we have seen earlier, something related to relational operators, that what are relational operators, how they could be useful for us, how they would be able to access the data, or how we will be able to filter out the data with the help of relational operators. Now the next set of operators which we are going to understand is nothing but a logical operator. Now what is a logical operator and why those kind of operators are helpful for us? Now what is the meaning of logical over here? So logical is nothing but a criteria or a condition which needs to be true, which we have seen. But what is the difference from the relational operators and this operator? So many a times the logical operators needs to be there, checked, or needs to be used when you have multiple conditions or multiple criteria being met. Now what are those criteria? Let's say, imagine that I say my data should have been related to gender. Let's say gender of the individual should be male. So if only this condition is required, I can directly do it with the help of normal where clause, with the help of relational operators, such as if I do select star from employees, that's the table name for us, and let's say I say where what? Where the gender is equals to male. I can simply do this and I can get the results. So how does a logical operator comes into picture over here? Let's say if I say gender male and his salary should be greater than 50,000. Now you have two conditions to be satisfied, and the logic when the two conditions to be satisfied over here is AND. What is the meaning of AND? That means first condition as well as the second condition both needs to be met, and then and only then the record will be satisfying those given set of criteria, given set of condition, and only those rows will be shown in the outcome. So let's see how do we write it. When I talk upon AND as an operator over here, we will not write definitely AND in this format. We will write AND by A and D. But AND as an operator is used when you have multiple criteria, when you have multiple conditions, and all the condition needs to be true at once. If that is being possible, then and only then AND is going to work. But what if instead of AND, I write something called as OR? This is a symbol which symbolically represents the meaning of OR means you can see either this or that. What does it means? That either one or the another condition is satisfied. It doesn't have any criteria, it doesn't have any logic that both the condition needs to be true. Any one amongst the given condition can be true. That's what it is said. So let's understand how do we solve this problem. That I don't want an OR operator to be working, I don't want an AND operator to be working. I don't want an OR operator to be working, I want an AND operator to be working. Now what is the meaning of AND? That both the conditions or multiple conditions needs to be true. True. Over here. So how does it looks like over here? That is, I will write AND. So I will write AND. And in the AND, I'll mention salary, which is there, and salary must be greater than 50,000. That's what it shows, and this is a criteria, this is a condition which is written over here. Now let's see what kind of records or what kind of rows will be filtered. Now let's go condition by condition, that is step by step. So what is the first condition being mentioned? The first condition being mentioned is what? Gender as male. So when I go on this data, wherever the gender as male criteria is being satisfied, let's filter out those. So wherever this condition is true, so male is true, male is true, male is true, it's not, so this will not be considered. This this, this, it will not be considered this, 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 this. So these are certain records which are being selected by the availability of the first condition to be true. So these are the mail records which are being filtered out. Now what is the next criteria, or what is the next condition which I want to check over here is nothing but, is the salary of those selected mails greater than 50,000, which means I don't want to select, or I don't want to look for all the employees' salary. Here there is an AND condition. So if the first condition is satisfied, then and only then I want the second condition or the rest of the conditions to be satisfied. So the next check which is happening, which is nothing but salary greater than 50,000, it will happen on only those mails where the first condition has been satisfied. So if you go here, the gender is male, yes, the salary is 65,000, which is definitely greater than 50,000, so this will be considered. Now if you see, even though the gender is male, for that particular employee the salary is not greater than 50,000, so this will not be considered. Here male but not greater than 50,000. So here if you see male, it's greater than 50,000, yes. Here in this E104, if you can see female and the salary is greater than 50,000, but the first condition is not yet satisfied, so we will not check for the second condition. Now if you see for male, yes, this will not be considered. Here if you see, not 55,000, yes, not here, yes. So not all the males records are being considered, only those males where the salary were greater than 50,000 are being considered. So the logical operator of AND has been worked upon. What if I would have written OR instead of AND? What if I would have mentioned OR instead of AND? So the outcomes would also have been changed. So what it does is, it goes to the first record. Let's say it goes to the first record, male, yes, male, yes, male, yes, 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 this is true, and this is true. So the first condition is being checked. So the next condition is not being checked on only those set of employees or those set of records where the first condition is satisfied. It will be checked for all of them because it's OR. So either this or that, which means either the first condition or the second condition, or let's say both of them is true, then also it's fine. So here you can see it is there. Here this record will also be considered even though it's female. Why? Because it's an OR operator. So any one among the two conditions could be satisfied. So this is there, let's say this one, let's say this one, even though being female, this one. So this all rows would be given and considered in the outcome if we use and utilize OR as a logical operator. So let's understand on the basis of the theoretical concept that what does an AND and what does an OR means. So when I talk upon logical operators, they have three types of operators. The very first logical operator is AND. Now AND as an operator needs to be used when you want all or the multiple conditions. So when multiple conditions are true at once, then AND returns true. So it will then and only then return true when all the given set of conditions are true at once. Now when I talk upon OR, as the name suggests, OR, that any one amongst the given condition is true or will return true. So OR is going to return what? True for this. So this is how and OR as a logical operator works. When all the conditions are true, then AND will return true, or else it would be false. When any one amongst the given condition is true, OR is going to return us as true. When none of the conditions satisfied, then and only then OR is going to return as false, and those set of records would be selected. Now there is a third logical operator which is used known as NOT. Now NOT is also known as negation or inverse, which performs inversely. If the given condition is true, it will satisfy it or it will make it as false, or if the given condition is false, it will make it as true. So NOT is also known as negation, which inverses the operation. Just a second. So NOT is known as negation, which inverts the outcome, which inverts the outcome of operation, means of the task which is there. Now let's see how does NOT works over here. So if I wanted to show the use case of NOT, so I'll write find those employee details. So I want to find those employee details where the department is not HR. Now here you can see I don't want the details related to HR department, but I do want details related to the rest of the departments except HR. So I have a condition that department is equals to HR should not be satisfied. So as said that in NOT, I can write this in two different statements or two different variations. It could be, let's say I write select star from employees, which is there, and I write where here I want department. If I want the department should not be HR, I can write not equals to HR. This can simply help me to filter out the records as per the given set of criteria or condition. But if I want to use a logical operator, how I would like and how it will be working for the same. Let's try to understand that. So if I write a logical operator over here, how it would be, let's say select star from employees. Now where department, which I have written, but before department I have to implement something called as not, which is there. So how I would write it, so let's say I'll write where and I'll write not as a thing. Over here not equals to HR. Now this is what I have written. The use case or the writing or the conditional part of both the statements which I have mentioned over here is different. Both are doing the same task but in a different manner. Now here if you can say this condition is going over here wherever there is department and not equals to HR. If this condition is true, this is being showing the result set for all the departments except HR. Now when this is going here, you can see department is equals to HR. So whenever the data goes into my SQL and it checks that the department equals to HR, Let's say if I go, yes, the department is equals to HR, but there is a not being written. As I have said, not means negation. The meaning of negation means inverse. So if the condition is showing you true, then it will consider and it will make it as false. So true will be made as false over here. So when this condition is met, but I have mentioned not, so it will be turned as false. Here if you can see department is equals to HR, the condition is false, but with the help of not, it has considered it as true. So the simplistic example, if I can say, so whenever you apply not on any condition, wherever the condition is true, it will convert it as false, or wherever it is false, it will try to convert it as true. So this is a very simplistic example related to a not operator which is there. I hope you have understand things practically over here with some of the examples which I have shown. But let's try to see with respect to our data, and let's see how we can write or solve certain questions for the same. So if I go on my data which I have given, you guys can see I have logical operators. Just let me zoom in. So here you can see we have logical operators. So and as a logical operators, when there are multiple conditions and all the conditions are true, then and only then the answer of and is going to be true and that record is being selected. Or any one of the condition which is given is true, then the answer is going to be true and that record would be selected. And not, as I've said, negation, which means true will be false and false would be true. Let's try to see with an example. Now I have a question being written over here. Find those employees where the sales, so find those employees whose job title is sales representative, which means I have job title as sales representative, or employees who locate in the office with office code 1. This is the two conditions which I need to check. Now how will I do? Let's first go and observe the employees table. As I've said earlier, whenever you want to filter out or whenever you want to implement certain query related approaches, first go and understand the base table. First go and look and observe the base table over here. So select star from what? From employees. I've done that, and when I do control enter, you can see the employee related details are being shown. This is an entire data is being shown. This is not my answer of the question which is being mentioned. What I want over here is the job title needs to be sales representative. Now how I will do it is I'll write where, because I'll write my where condition after from. So where what? Here you can see in that table there is a column named as job title. So here I'll write job title. You can see job title. It should be equals to what? Equals to sales representative. So sales representative. If I execute this, you can see sales representative related information is being shown. Now this is the answer of the first question which I have mentioned, that find the employees whose job title is sales representative. Now you can see there is one more part of the question bifurcated with or employees who locate in the office with office code 1, which means I want to either find the employees whose job title is sales representative, or means either they have an office code as 1. So anyone amongst the given condition needs to be satisfied. So how I can do? I cannot write office code equals to 1. If I write in this manner and I execute the query, you can see it is showing me syntactical error. You can see the error, you have an error in the SQL syntax, which means the way you have written the query is wrong. Whenever you get syntactical error, which means the queries are being written in a wrong manner. So what is the wrong part or what is the wrong thing executed over here is when two conditions are given but there is no logic being added. What is the logic? Do you want all the conditions to be satisfied at once? That is one logic. Do you want any one of the conditions satisfied with respect to the criteria? Now I want or as a condition as per my question. So any one of the given condition needs to be true. So here if you can see, either the job title can be sales representative or the employee belongs to office code 1. If I write both of them and I execute it, you can see this is what is being filtered. So here president as a job title is also available in my result set. Why? Because the office code is 1. Either of the two condition or multiple conditions given needs to be satisfied, and this is what the answer we have gathered from the query. So this was the first query result set. I hope you understood it. Now let's understand the next query. Find customers who locate in USA and have the credit limit greater than 100K. Now understand the question. The question is, let's break down the question into parts. Every time if you want to understand what is being asked, break down the question into elements or parts. The first part is find customers who locate in USA. So definitely I have to go towards the customer table and then gather the result set. So first I'll go in customers table. I know there is a customers table. So select star from. From where? From customers, which is there. I do control enter and you can see customers as an information is being available. Now what do they want from me? That is, you have to filter out those customers where they locate in USA. Now USA is nothing but a country, and you can see there is a country column where there is France, there is USA, there is Australia, there is Norway, and so many countries available. What do I want? I want to first filter out on the basis of country, that is USA. So I will write a criteria over here, that is where. Where what? Where the country of those customer needs to be what? USA. So this is what I have added. So as per the question which is mentioned, find customers who locate in USA, this is the answer of the very first question. So all the customers who are located in USA as a country are being available. Now and having, which means not only they should be located in USA, but their credit limit should be greater than 100K. That is around greater than 1 lakh. 100K is 100 and 000 ahead. So what do we want? I want first condition to be satisfied, but with respect to that, the other condition needs to be satisfied with it as well. So how I will do it is, I will write and over here, and what? Let's say let's not write and let's first write the condition, that's credit limit. Now credit limit greater than 100K. You should not write greater and then 100K. This is obviously a wrong approach to write it. K means 3 zeros, you have to add it. So 3 zeros are being added over here. When I run this query, it is definitely going to show me syntax error. Why? Because I know that the writing pattern of this query is wrong. Because if you see, there is a red line, you can see credit limit is not valid at this position. It was expecting end of the statement with the USA. It didn't expect credit limit over here. Why? Because it thinks that this is a different query or this is another query which you are trying to execute over here. But it is not the case. This two condition needs to be satisfied at once. So what is the logic which I want to use in terms of this task? So I want to use a logic over here as and. So here you can see when I write and, why I am not writing or but writing and. Understand the question. Find customers who locate in USA. First you have to do that and then check their credit limit if it is greater than 100K or not. So I need both or multiple conditions given to be true at once, means both needs to be satisfied. So I have written and when I run this, when I execute it, you can see not all customers of USA are being shown, only those where the credit limit is greater than 100K is being shown and is being available over here in the result set. So this is how it looks. Let me close this result window. So this is how it looks. So this is how I have utilized an approach of and. Now many people ask these questions that how will I understand? I have to use and, I have to use or, and so on. So first of all, you should understand the question which is being asked. The question will itself help you to understand that what you have to do. Now, if I want to talk upon how you would be solving this question, and the question itself has answer. So retrieve all products with a buy price between 50 to 100. Now I don't know the buy price is greater than, less than, and so on. I know that the buy price is going to be between 50 to 100. That's there. So how will I do it? First of all, what is the question? Retrieve all products. So first let's see, is there any product related information over here? There is products. So I've opened it. Yes. What they have asked, that the buy price needs to be, when I click on this, it is sorting it. So the buy price needs to be what? Needs to be greater than 50 to and between 100. So here if you see, this is what I want to filter. So, but here as we have seen in the earlier example, the conditions were based on two different columns. Here the condition is based on one column with respect to your AND operator. How does it work? Let me show you. Now retrieve all products. So let me go and write select star from products. Which are there? Select star from products. This is being written. Now you can see the products has lots of things. I want to check that the price is between 50 to 100. We do have between as an operator, but earlier if between operator was not available, there are certain places where between as an operator is not being applicable. How I would be able to solve it, or how I would be able to resolve this kind of problem statement? That is by applying logics over here. Now what is the logic which I can apply over here? That is, the price, if it is between 50 to 100, so definitely the buy price is going to be greater than or equals to 50, and it is going to be less than or equals to 100. So if I want to use that logic, first let me write over here. So select star from products, which we have written. Let me not write it again, and I write where. Let me go condition by condition. So where what? I have buy price. You can see buy price greater than 50. So greater than equals to 50. So what does this say? That go in the column of buy price and filter it out with this. So here you can see that the buy price greater than 50 is being filtered out. But there are certain prices where it is greater than 100 as well. I don't want greater than 100. I just want it between 50 to 100. So what I would do is, I will add an AND operator. Now AND, what I will do? Buy price less than or equals to 100. Now I'll explain you how does this code works. So I'll do control enter, and you can see whatever is being filtered over here is between 50 to 100. So how does this code works over here is, first it is going and checking this condition. So wherever the buy price is greater than 50 or equals to 50, that records are being filtered out, and then on those selected set of records it is trying to test the same condition. Is it less than or equals to 100? So on the same set of records it is trying to test another condition over here. So if both the conditions give the result set as true, then that record will be considered in the output. If any one of them fails, then the record is not going to be considered. Then I can say that the record is not between 50 to 100. So this is what we have seen, that how does an AND operator works with respect to finding out the between element or the between of one particular column. Numerically, specifically, this is used when you want to implement the between as an operator without the use of between inbuilt operator which is created. As we have seen the use case of between with the help of AND operator, let's try to see some more questions, or let's try to solve some more questions over here. So retrieve the details of those products where the product name is classic cars and the buy price, let's say, let me bring in over here. So and the buy price of the product is greater than 100. So let's see that how I would be able to solve it. Now you know that first we have to go to the base table from where we will be extracting the data. So I will be extracting my data from the products table over here. So I've selected the products table. As you can see that there are there is a column where classic cars as a category is available, but that column name is not product name. You can see that column name is product line. Many a people, they will write what? Where product name is classic car. They will write like this, where product name equals to classic car. They will write something like this and they will get a result set. They will get errors and they will say that the query is not performing well, they are not getting anything as a result set, even though they have over here. But you can see product name as a category does not have anything related to classic cars. Over here there is product line which shows that there is classic cars. So when I show this, you can see it is just having the description of that product. So what I want the classic cars as a category to be filtered. So here what do I write? I'll write where product line is equals to, it equals to what? Is equals to classic cars. That is being shown. And when I do control enter, you can see classic cars as a category is being filtered out over here. Now, and the buying price of the product is greater than 100. So what I want to do with respect to buying price, I'll write and there is something called as buy price. Buy price what? It is greater than 100, which is shown. And when I do control enter, you can see only two products. There are only two products where the product line is a classic car and you can see the buy price is greater than 100, which means the rest of the data related to classic cars model, the product line or the product buy price is less than 100k, or sorry, less than 100 over here. So this is what we have retrieved so far from my data. And let's say in this table itself, in the products table itself, I say that I do not want or I don't want motorcycles data to be shown in the outcome. So I'll go in clauses and I say filter out those product details. So filter out those product details. So those product details where the product is not motorcycles, where the product is not motorcycle. So that I want. I can do by both the approaches as I have shown you on that whiteboard. So select star from products. First always open the base table. Here you can see the spelling of products. Just a second. So here you can see products as a table. Now the product needs not to be motorcycle. So I can write where product line is not equals to, not equals to what? Motor cycles. You can see it has LES, so the same records needs to be written. So here you can see all the product lines are available except motorcycles. Why? Because I have written what? Not equals to. Now if I want it to be used and utilized with the help of not as an operator, so how I would be doing is, let's say I'll write filter, not this, let's say I'll write select star from products, and what it will do, it will write where, and I'll write not over here, not product line equals to motor cars. I am not writing not equals to over here, it is writing motorcycles. So what is the difference? That whatever is the condition being given, it will first check that condition. So whatever is the condition being given, it will first check that condition. Okay, it is true or not. If it is true, then it will give the result set as false, which means if you go in the first table of the products, let's say I write select star from products. So here if you see that in the products line, the first product is motorcycle. So when I check only by this condition, what it is going to do is, it will go into the row and it will check the condition is true or false. So here motorcycles is being matched, so the condition is true. But I am implementing something called as not operator. So if the result of this is true, it will turn itself as false. And where is not going to filter the data where the condition or the criteria is being termed as false. So here if you see, then it goes to the next one, that is classic car. Product line equals to motorcycles, the condition is false. So not will say now make it true, because I don't want where the condition is not equals, where the condition is motorcycle. So here if you can see, not equals to motorcycles is being given, and the same set of records when I implement both the queries would be able to achieve. So this is how the use of logical operators could be taken care of over here. If you want to write 4 conditions, 5 conditions at once, you can write. After this you can implement one more AND, after that you can implement one more and so on. So this is how logical operators are helpful in terms of filtering out the result set and getting an appropriate data as per the query which is requested by the client. So I hope you understood about logical operators. We will be proceeding further with the next set of operators. They are nothing but filtering operators. So as we have seen, talked and discussed about the logical operators over here. So let's try and understand something related to filtering operators. Now filtering operators are the special cases over here. So there are special types of filtering operators which are used in order to filter a data in a quite different manner. So there is something called as filtering operators which we will be using. So the very first filtering operator which we would like to study over here is nothing but a like. Now as you said, like what? Which means there will be some pattern observed within the data instead of finding an exact data over here. So like operator is used to perform something called as pattern matching. Now what is pattern matching and why it needs to be studied within my data? Imagine that I have a data and someone wants to filter out those employees where the name starts with R. They don't know the exact name, they just know the pattern. That name is going to be started with R. Now if someone wants to understand that the number of the employee or the phone number of that particular individual is ending with 07. Now they don't know the exact number, they just know that it is going to end with 07. So at that particular instance, the exact data or the exact element is not being found. So what you have to do is, you have to do something or you have to implement something related to the pattern which is observed within the data. And that's what the purpose of pattern matching is. So pattern matching will help you to filter out the results on the basis of pattern which is known where the exact data is not being known. So when I talk upon pattern matching, it is used to filter data on the basis of particular pattern observed instead of exact data. So instead of exact data. Now remember this word very carefully. Why? Because I've seen many students doing mistake when they are asked to implement pattern matching related questions. in the interviews or in the normal use cases as well. So what is pattern matching? As I've said that I don't know the exact data, I just know the pattern, that the name starts with R, the phone number ends with 07 and so on. So this is a pattern which is being known instead of the exact data, and I want to filter out the records based on this pattern. So for that I'll use something called as like operator. Now with like operator, it will help to use, or it will ask to use certain wildcards. Now what are wildcards? Wildcards will help me to implement this pattern. Wildcards will help me to utilize this pattern or write down this pattern which is there. So the first wildcard which is used is percentage. Now percentage as a symbol which is being used. So percentage will allow you to take multiple characters after a pattern. So allows to consider multiple characters, consider multiple characters with pattern. So this is what my percentage as a wildcard will help me to do with like operators, and without wildcards the like operator will not perform effectively. So now then it has something called as underscore. Now this is not a hyphen, it is an underscore, and underscore is used to consider specific characters with the pattern. So considers specific number of characters with pattern. So it will try, or it will ask for this particular parts. It will sometimes, we will sometimes use percentage, we will sometimes use underscore over here. So this was just the theoretical understanding of what does a like operator is and how does it performs. Let's try to see it practically with the help of example. So if I ask a question, that is find the employee names, as I have said, find the names, find the names of employees which starts with R. So that is being mentioned that it starts with what? R. So when I write a simplistic query which was there earlier, just like select star from employees which is there, and I write where as a condition, and if I give name equals to R in this manner, nothing is going to be filtered out. Why? Because name equals to R, this equals to is going to find out an exact element. So if I go in the name column, there are names starting with R, but exactly R there is no name available over here. If I give name and any one of the wildcards, let's say this and underscore, I am using any one of the wildcards, still it is not going to resolve, or it is not going to find any match over here. Why? Because it is still finding exact over here with the help of equals to. So this approach or this query is what? Wrong. So let me remove this query. So I have seen many students doing this mistake, that instead of using like operator over here, they will use equals to. So let us write down the result set for the same. I'll write select star from employees which is there, and I'll write where your name. Now I cannot write equals to as I've discussed earlier, so I will write something called as like. So instead of equals to, I'll write something called as like. And whenever you give pattern matching, no matter this pattern belongs to a numeric data or a textual data, you have to write it in quotes. Why? Because patterns or the wildcards will be mentioning in terms of a textual information. So you have to write it down in quotes. So like what? So like R. But do I know that after R there is going to be 1 word, 2 word, 3 word, 4 word or 10 words? I just know that the name starts with R. I don't know that it is going to end with R or it is going to have 2 characters, 3 characters and so on as such. So which operator should I use among the two? Definitely the percentage. Why? Because after a particular pattern it will allow me, or with the particular pattern it will allow me to gather n number of characters. There is no specification that you have to use 2, 3, 4 and 5. So here I will ask this. So when I write this, the query, how does it execute? It goes into the name. Here you can see it starts with R. Now there are 2 characters. Still it will be considered. Rahul, yes. Rashi, yes. Rohan, yes. So here you can see out of all the employees, only 4 employees details are being shown in the outcome, which is there. So this was the answer for the first question which we understood with respect to the pattern matching. Now let us also understand one more question over here with respect to pattern matching. That is nothing but find those employee details where name starts with S and it's a 5-letter word, which means the name is a 5-letter word and the first letter needs to be S. Now you see the question has added a complexity over here. The complexity added over here is nothing but that the name should start with S, that is fine, but it should be a 5-letter word. It has mentioned the specific number of characters which are required, that are 5. So let's see how I will do it. Select star from employees and I write what? Something called as where, and here the name like, which is there. Let me write name like what? Like it starts with S, but I cannot give percentage. Why percentage cannot be given? Because here that is mentioned that I want 5 characters or 5 words over here. So imagine that there is Sameer, S-A-M-E-E-R. So the word consists of 6 letters. This would be considered, but I don't want a name with 6-letter words. I want a 5-letter word name which is being there. So whichever name starts with S, let's say Sameer is there, but it's a 6-letter word. Samarth is there. If I write S and percentage, all the S names would be considered. But I don't want that. I want a specific set of characters. What are the set of characters? 5 characters. Now 5-letter word. So if it is starting with S, so definitely the first letter is going to be S. So remaining are the 4 letters which needs to be there. So I write 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 underscore needs to be given. So which helps me to understand that there are specific number of characters which needs to be fetched. So if I do this and semicolon. So here if you go, it goes in S. S is there as start. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is 5th character as well. It will not consider because the name becomes a 6-letter word. Samarth, if you see S, but there are no 4 characters after S. So that will not be also considered. Samiksha, you can see that it starts with S, but there are no 4 characters after that. So this will not be considered. Snehal, If you see, it starts with S, but there are no 4 characters with after that as well. Shrutika, it starts with S, but there are no 4 characters after that. So the outcome is going to be none, nothing. Why? Because the names are starting with S for sure, but none of the name is a 5-letter word, which means after S, only 4-letter word is not being available to me. So this is how pattern matching with the help of wildcards will help me to extract the data on the basis of pattern instead of implementing an exact element over there. So let's practically observe with respect to certain questions which are being shown over here. So as I have said that like operator, it is used to perform pattern matching, which means it will help me to match the patterns of the data and it will help me to gather the result set. So filter out the records where the job title of the employee is related to sales, which means that employee's job title should have something related to sales. It should be at the start, it should be at the mid, or it should be at the end. So let's see how it looks. So first select star from employees, which I gave. So this is the first name, last name and so on of the employees. Now what it does in the job title. So here job title, I want something related to sales. So if I write where job title equals to sales. So I am writing nothing, something related to sales. It's just where the job title is equals to sales. Now nothing will be filtered. Why? Because none of the employees having job title as sales. The employees are having sales and something written ahead or before. So if I just open the employees table, you can see there is VP sales, which means sales is being mentioned but later on, which means afterwards. There is sales representative, you can see sales being mentioned but before, that is at the start. Now you can see sales manager, here also sales is being mentioned but at the start. So here you can see there are criteria being met where the value is not exactly sales but something related or nearby to sales. So if I do sales and percentage, this is going to be incorrect, and this is what the mistakes which are done by many of these students that they try to do with this approach. So I cannot do it. So I'll write what? Something called as like over here. Like what? If I write sales and percent over here, what does it do? That it is starting with sales and after that it could have n number of characters, means anything after that. So if you see the sales managers, the sales manager and the sales representative are being shown, but read out the question what it is, and find out the records where the job title of the employee is related to sales, which means it should have something related to sales either at the start or in the mid or at the end. So in order to do it, I will write a percentage ahead as well. So this pattern, what does it helps me to understand? That the sales could be mentioned ahead, that is in the beginning, or in the mid, or in the end of that particular row. But it could be anywhere. If the sales as a name is possibly available anywhere within that row, then that row would be considered as an outcome to filter out the result set. So this is how we do. Now imagine that I write one more question. Filter those employee names, or let's say not filter, find those employee names where the name starts with, let's say the name starts with P and ends with S. So I have the name starting with P and ending with S as such over here. So here the pattern is quite different, that it should start with P and end with S. So I can write select star from employees where let's say I write the first name of the employee, like I can write it starts with P, so it should start with P, and I can write and it should end with S. So I can write first name like and it should end with S, which is there. When I do like this, there is no such pattern being observed. So I can write like this in this manner, or I can write in another manner. Let me copy it. Just a second. Let me close this. Let me copy it. If I copy it over here and I paste it, and I'll remove this, and I can write like this as well, that it should start with P, end with S, and there could be n number of characters in between. So here you can see still there is no such name which is starting with P and ending with S, which is there. So now let's say ending with R. You can see the first name is Peter, it starts with P, ends with R. So that is being available over here. So I can also filter those employee name where I can use percentage and wildcard underscore together. Let's say if I say select those employee name where the second character is A, which means the name should have A at the second position. First it could have anything, and after A it could also have anything. So if I do select star from employees, it is being there. Now at the second position, if you see, there is first employee name which has second position by A. In the first one it could have anything, and after A it could have anything as well. So here if you see, Mary is there. So what I can do in order to satisfy this condition is where first name like, the first name is like means related to what, where first character could be anything. So I have written one underscore, I will write A, and after A it could have n number of characters, so that is percentage. And when I execute it, you can see this number of employees are there, or these are the employee names. Let's say I wanted just the name, so I will write what, first name over here, and it will show me those employee names where the second position is having A, first could be anything, and after A it could have anything as well. So this is how we have seen the utilization of like as an operator. So like as an operator is used to do pattern matching. Now let's understand another operator over here, that is nothing but between. Now as you know that between as an operator will help me to find out elements between first category and second category. So it's very easy to implement. So the next operator which we have is nothing but between as a filtering operator. So it filters the data between two numbers. So it filters the data between a specific range. Specific range. So that is the purpose of between. Now let's say I want those employee names where the age is between 20 to, let's say where the age is between 23 to 25. So I want the age to be considered 23 to 25, which means 24 will also come into picture. So if I want to write that result of the query, I can write select star from where, from employees, and it will have where. So in that where, how does a between is written? Now all the filtering operators are written in different manners. So I will write between over here, and in that between, what is a between character? Wait a second, where just a second, where age is what I need to mention. So where age is between, So instead of writing equals to, greater than and less than, the operator which we have seen in the AND one, so I'll write between what, 23 and 25. So if the value is greater than or equals to 23 and less than or equals to 25, both those elements would be considered. So if you go and filter out over here, so it will try to filter out the records based on this condition. So if you see 28 will not be considered, 26, 23 would be considered, because 23 and between 25. So the starting and the end element should also be in the result set, in your between element or the between part. So 23, if you can say 24 as an age, 24 as an age, 25 as an age, 24, 23, 23 and 25. So these are the set of records which will be filtered with the help of between. So we also have another filtering operator which is nothing but in. Now in as an operator helps me to filter multiple conditions at once from a given column. So helps to filter multiple conditions at once from a given column. So from a given column, it helps me to filter out multiple conditions which are there. So how does it happens is, let's say I want to filter HR, admin and IT department. So if I want to filter out the records related to HR, admin and IT, I will write select star from, let's say, department. As I know, the filtering criteria is available in the same column. So I need to do department is equals to HR, or the department is equals to, let's say, the department is equals to IT, or let's say what I could do is I could simplify this approach by the use of in operator. So how it looks, that is, it will look like select star from employees. Now here the query you have to write employees, and where was missed out, so you have to mention it over here. So from where employees, where department, in. Now instead of writing HR, IT and admin as a condition separately, you can write in and you have to give it in tuple. So you write HR or IT or let's say admin as a criteria needs to be mentioned over here. So it will try to filter out those records where the department is either HR, IT or admin from the given set of records which are there. So instead of writing this entire big query, I can simplify it in this manner with the help of in. So in as an operator is used to filter out the records or filter out multiple conditions at once from a given column. Now I can only do in the department. Let's say someone is saying department as HR and IT, or the gender is male, then I cannot write department in HR, IT and male. That will not be a feasible condition over here. So when you have multiple checks to be done in one column, you will write something called as in instead of writing it multiple times with the help of or. And the last operator with respect to filtering part which we have is nothing but null or is null. Means it will filter out those records where the element is null. So is null as an operator, what is the purpose of is null? Now is null helps to check that the row is empty, or missing, for a particular column. Means is the row not available or is the row missing for that particular column. If it is, then that record will be filtered out and shown in the outcome. Now I have my data, I have my table, nothing is being missing. So let's see with practical example that how we can utilize in between and our is null operator as well. So this was just the theoretical bits of my between, in and is null. Let's see it practically over here. So if you can see the question which is mentioned, find the customers who have not filled the information about the state, which means that customer has not written anything about its information, which means it's blank. Let's see if the data which I have, select star from customers, which is there. So when I see the customers table, you can see that customer records are being shown, and over here at this particular position you can see the state seems to be null. Whenever there is something written as null, which means it's missing, it's empty, it's not available at that particular position. So we need to filter out those customer names who have not filled in the state related information, which means the state element is null. So how will I filter it? I will write something called as where. Here, as per the criteria, I'll write state. I will not give equals to null. This is a wrong set of criteria. Or if I give null, you can see this is also a wrong condition. So in order to filter out the null records on the basis of a particular column, I need to write is. Now is will do a check. Is it null or not? If it is true, it will show in the records. If it is not, it will keep it. So it's null, and you can see wherever the state element was not being given, for those customers the information is being given. Now if I write is not null, now what is this meaning? Now wherever there is not a null value, which means the state information is filled, those records will be filtered out over here. So if I write not null, so you can see state, it's a complete filled information which is there. So when I want to filter out the records where there is null value, I can filter out on the basis of is null. Now we have seen is null, how does it works and how do we implement the same. Filter out the orders. Now let's see the next question. Filter out the orders where the order status is either cancelled or on hold. So if this is a condition, what I will write? I'll write select star from orders. As we have to go in orders table, let's go in orders table, and you can see order status. There is no order status as a column, status as a column is being given. So how will I write? I can write where status equals to, I can write cancelled, or I can write status equals to on hold, which is there. And when I execute the query, you can see only the cancelled and on hold records are being shown. Now both are being fetched from that one column itself, that is from the status column. So instead of writing in this manner, I can write it as select star from orders where I know that I have status as a column, and instead of writing cancel differently or status or on hold status differently, I'll write in tuple pair. That is nothing but cancelled, comma, what I will write on hold. Now it's not case sensitive, so you can write it in anyhow. So this is being written, so it's either cancelled or it's either on hold. So that too, the result which we got from the first query, the same set of result is being gathered over here. So if I write not besides it or not, So wherever the cancelled and on hold as a condition is being met, that records will not be shown. The records where this condition is not met, those records will be shown. So here you can see that in the status you will see shipped and other kind of status over here, that is in process disputed, but you are not able to see cancelled and on hold because you have written not in, means reverse. Where this condition is met, those records will not be shown when you implement not as a negation operator. Now if you see that one more condition is there, find the names of the employee where the name has third character as T, which means the third letter of the name is T. First and second position could be anything. So I will write select star from where? From the employees. So if I show that select star from employees, it has employee number, last name, first name and so on. I want to see where the name of the employee has third letter as T, which means at the third position. You can see as an example T8T. So the third position should have T. So here if I write where and in the name, now it's not the name as a column, it's a first name. Now instead of using equals to, I'll write like. In that like, you can see like what? First character could be anything, second character could be anything, the third character needs to be T. So here if you see, I am giving one underscore, another underscore and then there is T. And after the third character being T, it could have n number of characters. So that's a percentage being added. So when I do this and when I execute the query, you can see those employee names where the third character is T. And you can see after T it could have n number of characters, but before T it should have 2 characters. So AN and PE, that is being given in the outcome. So that is being filtered for us. So find the names of the employee where the name has third character as T. So this is the result set which is shown to us. Now you can see there is one more question which will help you to understand the like of in operator over here. That is, find the employees where the job title can either be VP Sales, VP Marketing and the President. So first let's go to the employees table, select star from employees. And here you can see job titles has President, VP Sales and VP Marketing. So here I want where the job title in. Now in what? It should be in President or it should be as VP Sales or it should be as VP Marketing. That's what we want. Now the case is not going to be an issue over here. So this 3 conditions or this 3 values needs to be fetched from that one column. So this 3 condition check needs to be done over here. So when I filter it out, you can see the records where President, VP Sales and VP Marketing as a condition is being followed. That is being filtered over here. So let's try to solve in a last example for between in order to understand the filtering operators which was there, that is filter out the records between a given range. So imagine that I have credit limits of the customer. So select star from customers which are there. Now there are several credit limits of the customers being available to me. Let me just go over here, credit limit as a customer. Now I want to understand which the customers where the credit limit is between 30,000 to 50,000. So I have that criteria needs to be met. So filter out those details of customers where the credit limit is between 30,000 to 50,000. let's say you'll do select star from customers, and here in my where condition, where, and I will write credit limit as a column which is being considered. Now I don't need to give greater than equals to 30,000 and less than equals to 50,000. If you want to, you can, but I will specifically use the simplified approach for the same, that is nothing but between. So between what? Between 30,000 and 50,000. I put up a semicolon, and here you can see those customer details where, just a second, so those customer details where they have credit limit between 30,000 to 50,000. So this is how we can fetch or filter the data into MySQL in terms of understanding that how the data is being retrieved. You just not do only select star from table name. Sometimes or the other, the query or the response needs to be having certain criteria or the condition being met, and that's the reason why you use something called as where clause over here. So I hope we are able to understand what is where clause and what are the different criteria or what are the different operators which you can utilize with the where clause. We have not seen arithmetic operators over here with respect to the select statement, but when we proceed further with the rest of the statements, we will be seeing the use case of the arithmetic operators for the same. So that's all with respect to where clause.